Though we all come from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different cultural races, it is important to look at our mental health and see that what we struggle with mentally and what we experience mentally is all similar. So, with that, it's important to take a look at mental health through my eyes.
My name is Jessica Faust, and I'm a senior studying the biological basis of behavior, and I am chair of QSA and the marketing chair of the Penn Association for Gender Equity.
Hi, I'm Lindsey, and I am a junior. I'm majoring in communications with minors in creative writing and Asian American studies. And on campus, I'm involved in Sigma Psi Zeta, which is an Asian interest sorority, as well as Asian Pacific American Heritage Week. I was on the board for this past year, which just finished, and I'm also on the Asian American Studies Undergraduate Advisory Board, and I've done a poly, so the Asian Pacific American Leadership Initiative in the past.
I'm still Wondimagegn. I'm a sophomore, and I am currently in a Wharton school.
Specifically as a woman, I think that it can be hard the way that mental health issues are perceived by others, in that on one hand, women are expected to be emotional. And so in having, whether it be a breakdown or an anxiety attack or having any other issues, that there is an expectation of that, but it also is written off often. And so I think that that can definitely be a struggle that I've experienced personally as a woman, of being perceived as overdramatic and typically emotional, and not being taken seriously in that way. I think that I have felt and expressed with mutuality among other people who are bisexual or femme expressive, that can be really hard to really be gaining that legitimacy. So I think that those issues have a huge impact on mental health, and we're all really striving for love, security, and acceptance at that core.
I would say, I think just in general, there's, especially through media and whatnot, African Americans are portrayed as kind of like the strong, or like this kind of rough and violent kind of person. And so the black male group in this country, you don't, it's kind of like frowned upon almost to talk about like how you feel, like especially if you're not, kind of going through like a rough time, whether it be like school or whatever. It's kind of almost frowned upon to reach out to other people and talk about it.
Stereotypes that you see in Asian American culture, specifically like the model minority myth, which creates this idea that Asian Americans are this model minority that really lifted itself up by their bootstraps and really was able to flourish on their own accord. And I think that through this myth, a lot of times you have people really uncomfortable talking about mental health because they feel this constant and consistent pressure to really live up to that model minority, and that idea that Asian Americans are able to kind of do everything and be everything and accomplish everything that they want to. So I think it's really difficult to talk about mental health in Asian America. And I think that at Penn, in a culture where Asian Americans have been involved in recent, situations of mental health and recent unfortunate events that have happened, that you see that pressure, and you see the idea that it's so persistent within Asian America at Penn. And I think in colleges in general, you see heightened rates of suicide and depression within Asian Americans specifically, and very, very specifically Asian American women.
Activism can be as simple as, hey Jess, what'd you do today? Oh, I went to CAPS and then I went to dinner with my friend. And that's also a form of interpersonal activism that you can do in your daily life by destigmatizing.
It's probably gonna take like influential people within the community talking about it, just because otherwise I think it's still just gonna kind of be looked upon the same way. And then in terms of like the African community, I don't think there's anything, like I'm a first generation, like the first person in my family like grow up in the United States. I wasn't born here, but I like grew up here. And so like, a lot of kids who are in my same position their parents grew up back in Africa, back in their homeland, and there's no such thing. If you ask most Africans, I don't think, especially people who were born and grew up there, they wouldn't tell you, they probably be like, what is mental? Like this is not, you're going to school. There's no such thing as mental, health crisis or whatever. So in terms of just like the African community, I'd say it's probably just going to be a matter of time. It might take a few generations, but I don't think that's something that's going to change anytime soon.
One of the things that is most important in Asian America and the APIA community is to just talk about mental health, to acknowledge that it exists, to acknowledge that people struggle with it. Those people might be yourself, your friends, your peers. It could even be, people that you look up to in the community, that it really is something that could affect everyone. And just getting the idea out there and really breaking down that stigma, I think, is really important.
Speaking specifically to Penn's competitivity, that a lot of people struggle with, I think that continuing to create avenues where there are more competitive and less competitive spaces, but particularly emphasizing more less competitive spaces in order to find community and find refuge and find just like people, right? And to feeling even more belonging at Penn, I think is a great way to do it.
Taking that first step, in just discussing it or coming to terms with it, whether that be, just talking to one person or taking some time to self-reflect, is really important. And I think the administration also does a really, really good job at providing safe spaces to do so. So the Pan Asian American Community House on campus is always a great place to come if you need someone to talk to, students or faculty or otherwise. There are always great people there. So taking that first step and speaking out and showing other people that it's okay to speak out, I think, is really the most important course of action for Asian Americans specifically.
I think more at Penn, people would probably be more inclined to go talk to their friends or seek out the help if they need it. But a lot of times, I think there also is just kind of like this internal, let me just get through this through these next few weeks and I'll be okay. And then that's how I think, especially from people that I've talked to, that's a lot of times how they do it. A lot of they're going through a period of being overly stressed or just having a lot on their plate that they may not be able to handle. It's just kind of mindset, let me get through these next 2-3 weeks and then I'll be fine from there. Which for some people works and for some people doesn't.